Welcome. How are we feeling? Exhausted? Brain fried? We're going to talk about my talk is titled Tab Traps, Focus Fails and ARIA Fixes, Real Drupal Accessibility Challenges, with the subtitle blah, 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 because they're just some words. We're going to talk about some things around accessibility. It is quite a developer-focused accessibility, so we're looking at some technical things. There'll be code, JavaScript and things, so hopefully that's all right. We'll see. And I'm managing my speaker notes and this separately. So this is me. I'm Maria Young. I'm a Drupal developer and an accessibility lead with Agile Collective and on the local Gov Drupal project. In the course of my accessibility work, I do a lot of testing. I test things myself. I watch other people test things. I talk to designers and content people. I inspect code, and I also write code. And I Google stuff an awful lot. But yes, I am a Drupal developer, and I began my career as a Drupal developer in November 2012. So think back then, I was in my first week of, oh no, I'm not clicking the right one, sorry. There we go. I was in my first week of my new job as an apprentice Drupal developer with Agile Collective in November 2012. I was young, I was quite naive, and I was in one of those sort of remake yourself moments. I was quite smitten by some new concepts. I'd come across worker cooperatives, agile methodologies, and then I came here for Drupal Camp Northwest, which was in Manchester in 2012, and I felt for open source. It just made sense to me. But long gone are those halcyon days. The world has changed. Stuff has got quite real and a bit scary. I've just come out of 2 AI talks, so I'm a little bit like there right now. But I still do believe open source is one of the tools we've got, levers we've got to course correct, let's say. So here we are doing open source. So today we're doing accessibility, yay! We are going to jump in at the deep end. It is quite developer focused. And I'm going to skip over the bit where I tell you that accessibility is really important and that it's really real, and let's just pretend that I did it and you're very moved and you're committed, and we'll just get straight in, okay? So we're basically looking at interactive components. So when we're building interactive components, what we need to think about. So that's when we interact with something and something changes, let's say, or maybe it's going to change dynamically, what we need to think about from an accessibility perspective. And I hope you're going to leave here with a bit more confidence, understanding of what's going on, and to be able to learn and do a bit better. I do a lot of hand gestures. It's just me, okay. We're going to look at keyboard navigation, trapping tab, and focus management. We're going to go into ARIA a bit and do some testing and debugging, and I'll probably run out of time. There's a couple of terms you'll need to know. So assistive technology is device, software, equipment that helps people with disabilities or impairments improve their functional capabilities. And a screen reader is one type of assistive technology that we'll talk about quite a lot. There are lots of types, but yeah, screen reader converts text and elements into synthesized speech or braille. Okay. Keyboard navigation. So you probably know that keyboard navigation is the backbone of accessibility. It works by using the browser's event handling to detect specific key presses and map those to focus changes and things in within the document object model. The great thing about the keyboard is that it's static and it's fairly easy to learn. So you can learn to touch type, you can learn to work it without looking at it or seeing it. It's also a pretty simple device. We can kind of map those functions onto other input devices. So when we talk about keyboard navigation, we're also talking about how other input devices work, really. Do a little demo. So there's a couple of little videos. Oh, yes, move along. Videos to demonstrate some things. So it's going to be interacting via a keyboard with a date picker widget. We press Tab to proceed through interactive elements on the page. We can use the return key to select that element, and then you'll see using arrow keys to actually navigate the date element. Click. How does one click? Maybe like that. We're tabbing, pressing enter to enter the widget, tabbing around the elements there, and then we're using the arrow up, side, to select the 14th, and then clicking return to hit OK. That was quite fast, but there'll be a few more. You probably know most of this already. Just move on. But hang on, now mine's playing as well. Okay, there's going to be another one now, and I've forgotten what it does, so let me just get my notes. It's going to another similar component, which I will show you first, and then we'll talk about. So we're tabbing through that. It's opening a modal. We're going through the fields, but you can see that focus is getting trapped within that modal. So when we get to the bottom of it, we return to the top. This is where we start talking about managing and trapping focus. The 4 things I want to point out that we just saw happened. So when we click the button, our focus moves into the modal. So it went from the sort of main page into this new window so that we could navigate around it. When we got to the last item in that list, it jumped back up to the top. So we cycled around the elements in that component. It's important to note we could exit the component, the modal, and when we did, our focus returned to the button that triggered it in the first place. So these are all quite like 4 big things we need to think about if we're building something like a modal. So we're just going to look at this one, little example one that I made, which is very much like the example you just saw. But you might also need to consider this with things like cookie banners or like big complex mega menu type things, or off-canvas screens. All of these things need this sort of consideration. And we're going to look at something in Core. Tabbing Manager, because it's there for us to use in Core. It's actually quite easy. So there's some words that I got from Drupal. You can read them. So I'm going to look at some code now. And you can't read this bit, but I'll tell you the important bits. You probably can read it, but it's not that clear. This is a bit of JavaScript. On what we've put on the page, the HTML, we've got a button, and then we've got a div, which is the modal, which has been hidden, and we're going to want to show it. So the first function there is the open modal, and in that, we remove the hidden attribute from the modal so that it's visible. And then we use this tabbing context. So Drupal tabbing manager, and it constrains tabbing to the modal. And this bit that's trap focus true, that actually constrains the tabbing to that modal. So you don't even go back to the browser bar. You don't have to put that bit in, and then you would circle through the modal and go back to the browser bar so you could go somewhere else. But this actually traps it within that modal. And then we take the focus to the close button. So the first focus, we'll see in the demo, we're moving focus into the modal to the close button, so you can determine which interactive element within the modal that our focus moves to. Then we need to close the modal, or let people close the modal. So at that point we reset the hidden attribute on the modal, so it disappears. We release the tabbing context, and then we return the focus to the trigger that set us off in the first place. So those are the there's just a couple of functions in there, and it does all of the good work for us. So maybe we'll get a video of it. So we're opening the modal. See, focus is on the close button, which is the last one, but I just put it there for the demo. We're circling through the modal a few times for the sake of the demo. And then when we close it, focus returns to the button. So it's pretty easy, but you can do it even more easier, using this other thing, which is in course. So you can just put a link in your template, give it this class, use Ajax, the data dialog type of modal. There's a couple of other options there which do similar things. Some dialog options, give it an href, and that's it. And all of those other features are just built into that. But I thought it was worth explaining those 4 things that we need to think about. So here we go. Demo of this. So in this case, we've got a link opening it. We're showing a node 1 on the page. We're constraining the tabbing, going around, and it returns to the link again. What next, Maria? Okay, so what can go wrong here? So it's really common to see, like, we open a modal and focus doesn't move to it. So you've left someone not being able to interact with that content that you've just shown them, and being lost focusing around the page that they can't see the content of. It's also quite commonly you get focus does move into the modal. You can navigate it with the keyboard, but actually you don't let a keyboard user out without accepting the thing that you've just opened. Whereas other users who've got a pointing device can click outside. If you're using a keyboard, you have to accept a thing, which is not ideal. And the results is like, it's not just the case, like when I'm testing a keyboard and I run into trouble, I reach for my mouse and I can click and get myself out of it. That's not the case if you can't use a mouse. People have to ask someone else for help, which is, can be undignified. It's very inefficient, and it can be a security risk. It's got a lot of connotations of not letting people operate these things that we've built on their own, in the way that they want to. Okay. We're going to go into a bit of ARIA with a silly picture. The good, the bad, the broken. Before we get into that, just make sure we know what ARIA is or isn't. Actually, before we get into that, we'll take another step back. And I've got to, I forgot, I showed you the wrong pictures. Good, bad, broken. Look, picture of me. Accessibility tree, okay. The accessibility tree is, look, I've written the words, what it is. It's a simplified version of the document object model created by a web browser. So it's an interpretation of the DOM created by the browser, which fills in gaps basically to help assistive technology understand what's going on with the page and interact with it. So basically, all the interactions assistive technology do is actually via the accessibility tree or accessibility API. What that looks like, there's sort of some essential information that we need to provide about an element, what it is, what it's called, and what state it's currently in. So what that might look like, really tripping me up, this is. What that might look like is a submit button. Well, we've got this thing, it's a button. It's called submit, and it's currently unclicked, and it's also not disabled. So those last ones in this example, they're inferred, so it's a button, it's called submit, and how a screen reader would read that to us is like that, submit button. basically all of that we can usually do with HTML, like that name, what it's called, that just comes with our semantic HTML. We'll see now if the sound's going to work. I hope it is. Sorry, trim this.
Spend with purpose our business GM directory document. Skip to main content list.
Is there a way we could get sound to work? Do you know? Shall I pretend to be a screen reader? Okay. Have you heard a screen reader before? Reading. Cool. Okay. Well, maybe I didn't need to show you it. Let's see. Well, okay. We'll come back to it. I might need to work that out when I come to the next bit of my demo. But yeah. So just proceeding through elements on the page, it'll announce what it's called and what thing it is. So a link, a button, an input, that kind of thing. But what about when a button does something more interesting? So here we've got a list of buttons, delivery information, sizing guide, yada yada, and they've got a little cross next to them that you know, if you can see it, you might assume it does something. A screen reader, if we did nothing else but made this a button, would just read that as delivery information button. So if you couldn't see what's going on here, you'd wonder what's going to happen when I click that button. Is it going to submit something, or is it going to do something, open a modal, that kind of thing? In this case, it is going to open a accordion disclosure element, that kind of thing. So this is where ARIA can come in. It can fill in some of that gap about what a thing is doing and what state it's currently in. So ARIA is a set of roles and attributes that we can add to elements that help help fill some of those gaps that HTML can't yet fill. Yeah, okay, I'm going to get a little bit, it might be a little bit niche or give you more information than you wanted. But so ARIA roles. So this ARIA roles can help assign the what it is part of that information we need to give the accessibility tree. So we can override the implicit role of a thing with a new role. So we can turn a div into a button, we can turn a link into a button can become a link. It's not usually a very good idea to do any of those things. And in most cases, we don't need to touch ARIA. HTML does a lot of the good stuff for us. Semantic HTML does a lot of the good stuff for us. However, there are times when it can't. There are some elements that don't exist in HTML, or some things. Sometimes we need to dynamically change what a thing is. Sometimes we don't have control over the HTML, so we can do something clever with JavaScript to make it more semantic. So we add it like this. We just roll alert in this case. Not hard to do. There are a lot of types of roles. Document, widget, landmark, live, window, abstract. Like there's tons of them. There's a very long spec. It's a great read. I'm not going to go into all of those types, but in a lot of those cases that they have been replaced with semantic HTML. So most of the document structure links can be done with images and headings and proper and landmarks. We've now got banners and main and things that do most of that for us. There are rules about what you can do with each of them, and they do come with a series of expectations. I'll talk a bit more about that now. Now, a role is a promise. So if we say a thing is a button, it doesn't then become a button. You have to follow it up with making it clickable, making it do what you said the button was going to do. It usually needs some JavaScript to back it up. yeah, it doesn't do what it says. If you put a button, HTML button on the page, it just works. So role is a promise. It's like saying you meant to do it, but you didn't. If you don't back it up, and the thought is not what counts. You have to follow through. Next one. Oh, I moved these around. The second rule of ARIA is don't use ARIA. So it is actually at the beginning of the spec. If there is an HTML element that does it, use that first. You know, always think twice about using ARIA. So this an example. So this, if we just say a div role link, then an assistive technology, will read it as a link. It won't act as a link. It doesn't make it focusable, so it won't appear in the focus order for keyboard users. And it doesn't actually go anywhere. We can make it, follow it up. We can put a tab index in it, so it becomes in the focus order. We can add some JavaScript to make it click and it work on enter and space. But it's a lot of work. Why would you? Oh, but again, okay. Another thing I've seen happen wrong. It is wrong a lot is there is a role called menu and there's a role called navigation. Because of the way we use language, people often put this role menu on your site navigation. That's not what a menu is. A menu is for like doing actions like save or delete. Those sorts of things might come in a menu. Navigation is for navigating your site. It does matter because when someone using a screen reader comes across a thing, they expect certain behaviors from a menu that aren't the same as navigation. Okay, attributes. So attributes are attributes that we can add to HTML elements to give information about the state the thing is in. There's a lot of different types, and we're certainly not going to go into anywhere like them all. Some are kind of global. The ARIA label can set a name for a thing. Some define the relationships between things, and some tell us about the state of that thing, of the widget. You can't add just anything to anything. They go with the roles. There's a lot of rules. Using them incorrectly genuinely won't work in a lot of cases and will be quite confusing in others. But they are useful. So ARIA expanded. I'm just going to talk about 2 or 3 ARIA attributes in the talk, depending on how much time we've got. ARIA expanded can help, so we can set this as true or false. And this attribute solves this problem that we had earlier with our accordion, with some content that appears and disappears at the click of a button. So without adding ARIA expanded to a thing, when we oh no, that's with adding it. So before we'd added our ARIA expanded, as I mentioned before, like we'd hear this button as delivery information button. We don't know what it does. Now when we come to it with ARIA expanded false set on it, we hear delivery information button collapsed. So that's interesting. Just hearing that word collapsed gives us an idea that it can be expanded. So we suddenly have an idea of what sort of thing we're interacting with. Oh, that's a typo. So when we click on it, it will read expanded, but it doesn't read the following information. It doesn't actually read the expanded information, but we can assume that the next information on the page. Did you just take a photo of that? Yeah, thanks. Okay. Oh dear.
Your screen is being recorded, so it's fine.
Oh, great, thanks. Hi, Mum. Okay, we wouldn't hear, so we'd hear that it's expanded, we wouldn't hear the information, it wouldn't read out the information that has become expanded, but we would assume that it's going to be the next thing that came on the page. So we could go and find it. Easy to do, we add the ARIA expanded to the button. So button ARIA expanded false. We don't put it, and I've seen this done a lot, on the expandable content, on the content div. And you can imagine, if we think it through, that like that is not visible on the page, that thing that's currently not visible. So putting expanded on that doesn't help. So ARIA expanded only goes on buttons, and that will change from true to false as the thing disappears and appears. Little bonus, this hidden until found. So hidden is a HTML attribute. So if you put it on there, it will actually hide the thing, both from assistive technology and visually. Hidden can be true or false, or it can be until found. And that means it works. If you use your browser's find, it'll actually find content that's in that hidden thing, which is kind of cool. And obviously you need some JavaScript to switch the hiddenness and the ARIA expanded. There. Okay. ARIA live. How are we doing for time? Okay. Okay. So if we're updating content on the page, and we want the user to know that something's happened, but it's not where they are currently are, we can use ARIA Live. So ARIA Live will announce that something's happened, or announce what we give it, the message, when the user doesn't currently have focus on it. So a screen reader progresses through the page in a linear fashion, and it will announce information about the thing that we're currently focused on, basically, and not about anything else that's going on in the page, unless we use ARIA Live to do it. Make sense? So sort of, let's imagine like we've got a list of things and we've filtered it, and that's like changed the items that we've got showing. The screen reader, without doing anything else, will tell us about that we've checked or unchecked a checkbox, but it won't say, it won't give you a summary of results or anything like that, unless we ask it to do that. So that's the example we're going to look at. Now this is the one where it would be useful to see what I've done, because I made a thing and it's cool. Well, let's watch it and I'll tell you what it's saying. So I've made a little input. Let's see. Oh no. Okay. I'll tell you what we're seeing, then we'll see it, and you can imagine the screen reader. So typing into an input, there's a list of results below it. As we type into it, it dynamically updates the number of things we're seeing. And the screen reader reads out whatever I've typed, can't remember. And then after a very short pause, it says 4 results found. And then I type a little bit more and it says 2 results found. Oops, I can't even see it. Come on. Help me out. Oh, there we go. Okay. Resizing. Okay, so
filter ARIA roles edit.
Type in there something.
TA. 5 results found.
There's 5 results
B.
found.
3 results found.
B. 3 results found. So it's giving us a bit of that live update. So we don't need to tell it all of the things that have changed on the page. Just give it a bit of a sense of what's going on. Give the user, it's not the assistive technology, it's the person using it, give them a sense of what's happened on the page. So that they know what to go and look for. Okay. So how do we do that, Maria? I hear you ask. So we've got this Drupal announce function in Drupal. Again, it's in core. We can just use it. So what we're seeing here, I can't even read right now. Okay, yes. So if the visible count, so we're watching to see what's changed. Okay, we're counting what's visible. So if the visible count is 0, if there's nothing left, we're using Drupal.announce to announce no results found. Try a different search, and we can put that through the T function so that it can be translated. If there are some results, then we'll announce the number of results, and basically as you'd expect. But yes, this Drupal announce does the magic, and what it does is there is a region. It puts this region on the page, or it's already there, and it inserts it into that region. That region's got this ARIA live attribute, which is where we started. In this example, it's assertive. I'll come back to that. So the screen reader basically watches that region all the time, and anytime some information appears in there, it will announce it. Assertive will interrupt what the screen reader was already talking about, and interrupt it and say that thing. Otherwise, it's polite is the term there, and that waits for it to pause, and then it will tell you what's going on. And actually, that's what we'd want in this case, because results found isn't that important. Wait to hear what you're doing, you've done, and then you can put that as, and then it'll announce the number of results. You would want to use assertive if it's about to have a timeout, the internet exploded, something that actually needs urgent attention. So yes, use this Drupal announce. Things to think about with ARIA Live, generally be polite is always a good life skill, life advice. Generally be polite, be concise. So say just summarize what's happened, and then it needs testing and testing again. So we will move on to testing. I said where we can use this. These are some interesting issues about getting this into core for views and stuff, but we'll come on. Okay, I'm going to skip over ARIA hidden, which is funny because that's what ARIA hidden does, and move on to testing. So it is really important to do testing. I'm not going to go too much detail here, but keyboard testing, you can do it from your laptop. Use the tab key, shift and tab, move around, spacebar, enter, they all do things. You just put away your mouse a little bit and see if you can move around. It's really important. NVDA or JAWS as a screen reader, test with that. You can use it in Browser Stack now. It is a Windows only, but you can also spin up a VM. I mean, it is a bit clunky in Browser Stack, but it does work. I've got a little funky old laptop that I bought secondhand that's just for testing with NVDA. It comes with when you load it, you have to set your NVDA key or JAWS key. And once you understand that, then all of the documentation makes a bit more sense. So you press whatever. So I've got my caps lock as the key. So you press that and do something, and it will move you around the place, or you can do different functions. But basically, you're still using those keyboard commands of pressing tab to move around focusable elements. You can use just the H key on its own to jump through headings, listen to the page from the top to the bottom, and see, particularly look at this component that you've just built and see what feedback you're getting. You can look at the accessibility tree in your browser through Chrome DevTools or whatever DevTools you use. It helps you see, like this bit down here where the ARIA label is, and there it shows you what you've overridden accidentally or not, and sees how it all stacks together. And automated tools, they do something. It's really easy to build something that passes all of the automated tests but still doesn't work, particularly with ARIA. But if it is throwing errors, then look into them because there's probably something gone wrong. And lastly, Just a little warning, and this is from Eric Bailey, basically. I've just stolen it. But the ARIA patterns give you really good ways to use ARIA, but they don't give you necessarily really good ways to build components. So they'll show you how to build a date picker widget with ARIA, but that doesn't mean that's the best way to build that thing. And so this article of Eric Bailey's, which I'll link to in the notes, talks about if you're using the ARIA spec to train your LMM to do your vibe coding, like, do it with care. And it gives you some ways to craft your prompts if that's your style. That's it. I think that's my talk. How are we doing for time? Are there any questions?
Thank you. I know you didn't have time to go into ARIA hidden, but when would you use ARIA hidden versus hidden?
ARIA hidden doesn't actually hide things visually on the page. So all ARIA hidden does is removes it from the accessibility API. So it's still there on the page, but you're hiding it from assistive technology. You might do that because, let's say, you've used like an icon and you've already got a visible label. And so if you had it there, it would just be extra noise. So if it's like truly duplicate content that's just going to create more noise for a screen reader, let's say, then you can use ARIA hidden. So it just like ignores it in the same way that empty alt text does. Yeah, exactly. Same thing. But you really need to be careful with it because it's disconcerting. And you've got to remember that, no, you know this, but we've got to remember that not all screen reader users are visually impaired. So a lot of people are using a screen reader and following along what's going on visually on the page. So if those things don't match up, that's really weird.
Thank you.
Hi, couple of questions.
Yeah.
One of them is about trapping focus within navigations with drop downs.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thought on that? Because like there are different angles. So I know, like we had some accessibility testing on the website, and one of them was going through the drop down, and then you should be able to leave onto the next item. Is that what your practice would be?
Usually,
Yeah.
Usually, unless there's a really, really, when we want to trap focus in a thing, it's because we're kind of forcing a choice. So
To return the focus of our item
Yeah.
and then move on to the next.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone sort of said you could go down to the next item.
Ideally,
Exactly.
yeah.
Doesn't really kind of.
My preference is to let people open and close that drop down by choice first. So you've got a button that will open and close it, rather than forcing people to navigate through all of the thousands of items. But yeah, once you're in it, navigate around it and then carry on.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the other thing was just like sort of in terms of incorporating some of that stuff into Drupal, in a sort of more general way.
Mm.
If you've got something that's going to be used across quite a large site, how would you approach that? Would you put stuff in theme or in templates, for example, or more in the sort of JavaScript side of things?
Usually my JavaScript is in my theme, unless
Sorry.
no, it's not always, because sometimes you build a custom module that does something. If it's in your theme, then usually it'll affect all of the things that are built like that. I mean, generally as reusable as you can make it. So wherever it's going to have the biggest impact, assuming you've built something nice.
Yeah. I think I just got caught out one time where trying to put some, I think it was like a name on a button.
Yeah.
And then I just broke input buttons across the site.
Yeah.
So yeah. Doing it.
It's a very good point. Don't just test the component you just built. Test all the other ones too. Yeah. Loads of questions.
So recently you mentioned that the custom composite. So that fits on my. So would you like to talk about your recent challenges in achieving the ARIA features and attributes in custom composites? Because I know that was struggling. And would you like to talk about that?
No. So we've been working together on forms for Walsall Council, and I mean there's a lot to do there still in web forms, and we work on the local Gov Drupal web form project, and yeah, there is a lot to do, but I wasn't doing that work, so you're just being mean. Yes. Is there something specific you wanted to ask about?
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry, Pardeep wanted to ask something. That is okay.
Okay. So my specific question was like I was witnessing that whenever there's a custom composite, so it was not as easy to implement the ARIA attributes in composites rather than implementing that directly in the field. So that was a big challenge for us.
Yep.
Yeah, so then we had to go to package Geo, rewrite it, and make it available for specifically for those composites.
Yep.
So this could be an enhancement to our LGD section
Yep.
that we can just move the entire to LGD one.
Yep.
Probably we would like to contribute.
I would love to. We will do that on Monday. A week on Monday because I'm on holiday. Yeah.
You talked about keyboard testing.
Yes.
Would you advocate for automated testing of keyboard input?
I haven't seen it's really possible. I'm sure it's happening, but I haven't really automated testing's fine, but it doesn't replace any kind of manual testing, and I think it's a long way off before we get anywhere close to it, because it takes so much. We can test the things that are in the tab order work, but what about the things that aren't? How do you spot a thing? That it takes some kind of looking at a thing and judging whether a thing should be behave in a particular way. And because design patterns are the way they are, sometimes we design a button to look like a link, sometimes we don't. And so should it behave like that, or should it take some kind of judgment to work through? It can definitely, it's really useful for checking whether you've used the wrong, an illegal attribute on something with a role that it doesn't belong to. It's great for that, but not, I think it's not a good replacement. What do you think?
I wouldn't suggest replacing. Sorry, I wouldn't suggest it as a replacement for manual testing.
Yep.
But I think it can be great for kind of finding out you've broken something quickly, and but I haven't personally taken that to keyboard testing, but I'm wondering if it's something I'll look at in the future.
Yeah. Sure, for when you're rolling out big updates and things and you want to do some kind of, large scale testing, I'm sure it's quite useful. But there's nothing as quick as if you've just literally built something and just tab through it to see whether it's working with a keyboard. You don't have to fire anything up or do anything fancy. But it's surprising. I mean, it's really surprising how, for me, it's the first thing I do when I go to a website. But it's not everybody works like that, or we don't know that's essential thing to test. Gareth.
Use case for that would be probably regression testing.
Yes.
If you know something worked properly, and checking that it still works.
Yeah.
You know, the button idea.
Yeah.
Make sure that they all work.
Yeah.
With automated testing to check all the other buttons still work.
Yeah, I'm sure that's right. Yeah. Just don't put me out of a job. Thank you. I think it's time.